Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rolin. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, or you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hey, friends, how are you? I am over the moon excited to be here. This is my very first show, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be here with you. It is the new year, and I love a new year. I love the possibility it holds. I love to release and let go of the hurts and the burdens and the negative thoughts, and the judgments and the frustrations of the year and start a new chapter. I hope you have taken some time to just let go of whatever happened last year that you didn't necessarily like and truly release it. Trust me, it's not hanging on to you. Rather, you are hanging on to it. Replace with some gratitude and some optimism of the new year. Grateful for your power, right, to choose. You can choose this new year consciously and intentionally. And I hope to support you in that journey, in choosing your life on purpose, making personal development, self-reflection a daily practice. I love that you are here with me, and I admire you that you're doing this work for you. I'm grateful for you. Before I get into what I want to share with you today, I thought I would introduce myself, tell you a little bit about the work that I do and why I want to bring this show to you. My name is Leah Roling. I am mostly happy. I'm a loved wife, proud mama of 3 amazing and yes, sometimes naughty boys. I have an awesome all love Saint Bernedoodle. His name is Mac, who I believe is perfect. I am a guacamole obsessed Leo, Enneagram number 3, and a self-care junkie who can say that she loves her life. But I didn't used to. I pretended through most of it. I find away my feelings and hopes that one day I might truly be fine. I didn't love my life, and I certainly didn't love me. My dad left when I was 8. And I made his non-return mean that something was wrong with me, that I was unlovable, unworthy. I mean, if your own dad can't love you, who can? I spent the good majority of my adult life trying to find my worth and fix myself. You would be hard pressed to find a personal development book that I haven't read under the guise of growth, only to confirm that indeed I was broken. I thought the answer was to try harder, to accomplish more, to be nicer, to forsake myself until I had an epiphany. The answers were never to be found because I was searching in the wrong place. They were never discovered because I was solving the wrong problem. You see, the answers are not outside of you. They are within. And I didn't need fixed. The only thing that needed fixed was the idea that I needed fixed in the first place. I don't need fixed, and neither do you if you feel like you do sometimes. If you feel that you're not enough, that you're unworthy. I am here to tell you that your worth is set. It is your birthright. There's nothing that you have to do to earn it. I promise you. Think about a newborn baby. Would you say that the baby is worthy? I mean, he or she can't even walk. He or she doesn't even know his or her own name. They haven't done anything. But yes, we would say that baby is worthy. My quest soon became to help as many people as possible to see that there is nothing wrong with them, that they don't need fixed, that they never needed fixed. And the only thing that needs fixed is this belief that they do. Freedom from being fixed creates freedom to create anything you want in this life. If you're not so busy fixing yourself, my friends, you can get busy living your life. I thought if I better understood why it was that I felt not enough, why it was that I felt my life should have been different, I could solve for it. If I better understood what it meant to be a human, I could try to be the very best human I could be. Not to be more worthy, but to become more of who I already was. My B method is a result of this personal development journey, along with studies and certifications and degrees in cognitive behavioral therapy and neurolinguistics, hypnosis, quantum science, neuroplasticity, metacognition, metaphysics, PhD programming, all to better understand our humanness. I'm excited to share with you what I've learned about the way life works, what it means to actually be a human, why it is that we sabotage, and how we can find fulfillment in it. My encouragement along the way may sound like a pep talk. It may sound cheerleader-ish, but it's not. It's science. It is neurocircuitry. It is neuroplasticity. It is metacognition. It is not cotton candy self-help. My hope is that this show will support your personal development journey, that you will be able to take away some ideas, some concepts, and use them in your life to inspire, to impact, to influence. I believe self-awareness is our responsibility. It is the catalyst to change. And in becoming our best version of ourselves, I truly believe that we change the world. So thank you for being willing to do this work with me. When we are not self-aware, we get stuck in our identities, stuck in our habits, stuck in our overwhelm, stuck in our indecision. And deep down, if you're listening to this, we feel that we are meant for more, seeking something better or wishing there was something different. We define ourselves so often by our past, unable to see the future, unable to let go of our attachment to it, meaning we believe in our past more than we believe in our future. We use our past as an indicator of what is possible in our future. And this thought alone is sabotaging. I want to invite you to be able to define your vision of the future. Become empowered by your life and not the victim of it. And know how to consciously choose your results. All of them. Managing your mind and processing your emotions and showing up on purpose and being the creator of your life, choosing consciously, seemingly just ideas, concepts. But when you put them together, they create a self-coaching model that allows us a simple way to choose intentionally our life, to design it on purpose. The key isn't learning more, knowing more. The key is living what you know, being what we know. And so in order to change your life, you have to change. It's not in doing more. It's not in knowing more. I promise you, you have to start thinking about what you've been thinking about, changing it. You have to become conscious of your unconscious habits and behaviors and modify them. You have to become aware of how you have been feeling and emotionally reacting to the circumstances and situations in your life and shift your emotional states. It's not an outside in reality, friends, rather an inside out. You have to claim your identity. I love the UFC. I know, maybe strange, but I love it. And Rose is my favorite UFC fighter. And she's claimed this bestness. As she walks towards the ring, she'll say, I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. And not in an egotistical way, but a humble way. She believes that she's the best. And you can believe that too. You have to claim it for yourself. No one is coming. There is no best fairy. No one is coming to your door to give you the best designation. And this claiming is not going to come because of what you know, rather what it is that you expect. Have we expected to fail? Do we expect it won't work out? Do we expect that we'll never lose the weight we want this year because we've never been able to? Do we expect to win? Or do we have excuses lined up for when we don't? Consider all of the reasons that we might not have been all in on our word is because we have rewarded the opposite. What are you doing when you're not all in with your word? When you're not all in with the goals that you set? Are you sleeping in? Are we watching Netflix? Are we shopping? Are we scrolling social media? Are we binge eating? Are we really committed? Meaning no matter what, or are we just interested? We sabotage with our buffers to prove our expectations right, to prove ourselves right, to prove that we are not capable. And what gets rewarded gets repeated. We are rewarding the opposite of what we want. Being right is the dopamine hit. The reward is rewarding the limiting belief, the idea that we are right and not being able to follow through, not being capable. But what's true and what's not about that? What's true is that you haven't really gone all in on your word, right? What's true is you haven't really committed. What is true is you can get what you want when you go all in. I have to accept that I can follow through. I have to expect it. Consider this. If you can tie your shoe, you can follow through. And if you can follow through, you can be successful. Believing, expecting is the way. And what's also true is that if you don't want to go all in, if you don't want to commit, no matter what type of commitment, I'm doing this no matter what, then stop wanting. It's okay. It's okay just to be interested in it. But if you want to be committed in it, then we have to know what that takes. So the question is, what would you have to do to go all in? What would you have to do? How would you have to think? How would you have to feel? Who would you have to be? Who would you have to become to go all in? on whatever it is that you want in life. Not needing anyone's permission, not using the past to dictate that it's possible or it's not. Just believing it, expecting it. That you are someone capable of achieving even bigger thoughts and dreams and possibilities than you can ever even imagine. So the question, what would you have to do to go all in? I'm going to answer this question for you when we come back from break. See you then. Welcome back to the Becoming You show. If you want to find out a little bit more about me and the work that I do, you can check out my website at www.leahroling.com. I posed a question before break. What would you have to do to go all in? I want to take a minute to break this down for you. I want you to think about something that you have wanted to achieve, and for whatever reason, you haven't. And I want you to be super honest with yourself about what you did to get it. You see, most of the time, the answer is not as much as I could, or I thought about it more than I actually did anything about it. And if this is true for you, then my friend, this is great news because you have a normal human brain. So in order to understand the answer to what you have to do to go all in, to commit, no matter what, you have to understand the human brain a little bit. The average person thinks between 60 and some 70,000 thoughts a day. 95% of those thoughts are the exact same thoughts as the day before. And if you believe that your thoughts have anything to do with your destiny, if 95% of your thoughts are the same as the day before, then your life will stay same. Your old state of being, right? Same thoughts, same emotions, same actions, behaviors, and habits, same experiences and results. My friends, they equal the exact same reality. If we want to go all in and to commit, and no matter what type of commitment, you have to break the habit of being you. You have to have a new state of being with new thoughts and new emotions and new actions and behaviors and habits, new experiences, results. That creates a new reality. Your neurocircuitry, your neurochemistry, your hormones, and even your gene expression are always equal to how you think and feel and how you act. I truly believe that the hardest thing about transformation, change, is not doing the same thing that you did the day before. So it is really important for us to understand why we do what we do, why we think how we think, to ask ourselves, who are we? Who do we want to be? Why do we sabotage? If we think about who it is that we are as an identity, as an I am statement, I want you to ask yourself if any of these you can relate to. I am a people pleaser. I am a procrastinator. I am an avoider. I am a reactor. I am a worrier. I'm an over-preparer. I'm a ruminator. I am a perfectionist. I am indecisive. I am quick to temper. I am impatient. I am overweight. I am broke. I am an introvert. I am terrible at managing my time and possibly my money. I am unorganized. I am scared of failure. I am anxious. My question is, would you be willing to give up these false identities, and they are false, to have everything you have ever wanted? Did you know it was possible? These are all ways that we sabotage, and we don't even realize they're sabotaging traits. My hope in doing this show is that I can share with you that it is possible. And not because I say so, because science says so. New ways to think, new ways to feel, new ways to show up in your life, to become and create the best you, the best life is possible because of science. In order to know who we are, we have to know who we are not. And I want to offer you that you are not your identities. I'm going to say that again. You are not your identities. You are not your I am statements. Most likely, they were assigned to you from your parents or friends or your teacher or your old boyfriends or old girlfriends. You do not have to take them on. You get to choose who you want to be, who you want to become. And it's going to be a super fun journey of unlearning who you thought you were, relearning who you really are, and redefining a vision of the future that is free from the familiar past and full of possibilities for your conscious to choose from. Consider there are no possibilities in our past, and yet we spend most of our days reliving it. Life is neutral. Nothing that you experience happens outside of you. We've been taught, society teaches us that life happens to us, that our circumstances and our situations and people and things and places and objects create our feelings. But friends, this is just not true. And I want you to feel for the truth of this. If it were true, if something on the outside controls your thoughts and your feelings and your actions, it means that you are a victim to the circumstances in your life. And that goes against everything science teaches. Most people wake up every single day and they see the same people and they go to the same places and they do the same things at the same time. We are creatures of habit. Joe Dispenza says it is no longer then their personality that is creating their personal reality. Rather, it is their personal reality that is creating their personality. They believe that their situations are controlling the way that they think and the way that they act and the way that they feel. If things go well, you feel well. And if things go bad, you feel bad. To change is to understand that nothing outside of you makes you feel anything. Nothing you experience happens outside of you. If you don't hear me say anything else, please hear me say that. The only reason that you feel any way that you feel is of your own accord. I learned this framework of thinking from Brooke Castillo at the Life Coach School. This framework, thought model, if you will, has allowed me and so many of my clients to kind of take back their life, to regain control of what is in their control, and therefore create on purpose, right, a life they love. The situation, the circumstance is neutral. people, places, our bodies, life itself, other people's behavior is never the problem. Your kids aren't driving you crazy. Your in-laws are not making you mad. If we didn't have a thinking brain, we would not think about the situation in any way at all. The problem is never the situation or the circumstance. And that's the best news ever, because if it was, we would have no solution. The problem is always the thinking. It's the meaning that we give to the S. It's always the problem, but yet it's always the solution. You see, we are the thinker of our thoughts. Our thoughts are not facts. They're not. They're not orders. And they're not right. They're optional. And they are swappable. Thoughts create feelings in the body. Emotions are vibrations in the body created from our thinking, not our situation. If you didn't have a thinking brain, you wouldn't feel anything at all. Emotions are indicators. They're not dictators. Emotions are in the present. There is no past or future feelings. The only feelings that you have right now are in this very present moment because of a thought. Here's another thing. No one else feels your feelings. We think that we're just going to be mad because that'll show them. Nope, it doesn't show them. It just robs you of the peace that you could create today. Right? No one else feels your feelings. Feelings fuel your action, how you show up in your life. And all behaviors are emotional, every single one of them. And the combination of your thinking and your feeling and how it is that you're showing up in your life ultimately create your reality, the results in your life. And your results are always proof of your original thought. You are responsible for your results. You're not responsible for anyone else's. Not your kids, not your spouse, not your parents, not your friends, not your colleagues. You're responsible for yours. They are responsible for theirs. Results don't lie. Every result in your life is always based on how you were being, not what you were doing and not what you know. When we don't know this framework, you guys, not just as a concept, but living this framework or how life even works, we can quickly become a victim of our life. So I just want you to ask yourself, where in your life are you playing the victim? Where are you delegating your emotional well-being over to the people that are least capable of managing them? Whose emotions are you mirroring? Are you mad at your kids for being mad? Are you frustrated at your spouse for being frustrated? Are you judging others for judging you? How are your expectations creating suffering for you? I always say this, but people really suck at being who you want them to be. Guess who they're very good at being? Them. And when we can let go of our expectations, we free ourselves from the pain that expectations create. Who in your life are you shoulding? They should do this. They shouldn't do that. The world is so divisive right now, full of judgment and unnecessary judgment, because in reality, we're all right. We are all right by our experiences. And when we don't accept others as they are, exactly as they are, we lose. When we resist reality, we lose. Reality is that they have agency to show up however it is that they want. Judging them doesn't change them. It only steals your peace. And again, acceptance doesn't mean I approve or I agree. Please don't hear me say that. Approval and acceptance are two different things. Yeah, it's a show for a different day. And when we come back from break, I'm going to break down our two core fears and some of the lies that we've been taught and how they disconnect us from being our best self and from living our best life. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to the Becoming You show. I just have to say that I love being here with you. So thank you for being here with me. If you want to find out more about me, you can find me on social at Leah Roling and my website at www.leahroling1l.com. In order for us to become more of what it is that we are, we have to understand the human brain. Before we went on break, I shared with you a thought model and why it's so important to think about what we think about, because we can't become more of who we are if we stay sane. If we don't hijack our brain with new thoughts and feelings and actions, we will continue to be what we always have. I think it's important to understand that we as humans have two fundamental core fears. These are the fears that keep us from seeking possibility, from failing, from succeeding, from accomplishing our goals, from truly connecting with others and ourselves, from expecting the best. In order for us to tap into this human potential, we have to be aware that these fears, one, exist, and two, how to overcome them. So the first fear that we have is this need to be fixed. Some version, right, of some variation of not enoughness and not worthy or not lovable. The second fear is that our life needs fixed. Something is wrong or life is not going according to plan in some way. Can any of you identify with either of these in some way? This whole not enough or our life should be different? I know I can. And here's the best news. Both of these fears are thought problems. And if you stay with me long enough, I'll teach you how to solve for them. So in addressing fear number one, I started the show suggesting that you did not need fixed, that your worth is set. Nothing you do or don't do makes you any more worthy. Just have different experiences. You were worthy when you were born, you stay worthy, and you end worthy. It is exhausting to fight this truth. There is no proof otherwise. Therefore, you just get to choose that you are enough, that your worth is set. That's it. It's a choice. In addressing fear number two, when I'm coaching my clients, they bring me a situation sometimes that they're struggling to wrap their head around. And it's as though they think that their life, quote unquote, should be different. I think sometimes we think that life should look like this. We are all born into this world healthy, right, without any complications. And we go through school without bullies and with good grades. We get into the college that we want, and we get the job we want, and we find our soulmate. We have kids without complications. We retire and we pass in our sleep. All without complications. Now, I know when I say this, you're probably like, Leah, I know that this isn't what life is like. But then why are we so surprised when things don't go according to plan? Whose plan anyway? Remember, you are the creator of your experiences, and I want to give you permission, not that you need it, to create whatever it is that you want in this life. Our life, I believe, is to be created, to be experienced, to be designed, not fixed. Our life is 50-50, and so is everyone else's. Your kids, your spouses, your parents, it is the human experience. There's good and bad. There is positive and negative. There's light and dark. It's a universal law. These experiences do not need fixed. Your kids don't need fixed. Your spouses don't need fixed. And when we fight this and resist it, we lose. Consider the only reason we want this number, this 50-50 number, to be a little bit more skewed to maybe more like 80-20 is that we think negative emotion is something to fear. But most of what we do or don't do is to feel or not feel a certain way. I believe it should be something we honor. After all, remember, all behavior is emotion. We should get really good at understanding what and why it is that we're feeling. Remember, feelings are indicators. Feelings are a compass into our soul. Negative feelings are usually from unmet needs, a huge topic for another show. But no one ever died from a negative feeling, but plenty have died from not feeling or not having really lived at all. It is the human experience to feel. It's appropriate to feel sad when something is sad. It is appropriate to feel disappointed when something is disappointing. What makes this entire experience almost unbearable is the shame and guilt that we attach to feeling these feelings in the first place, as if we shouldn't. I have pretended to be fine for so many years of my life. I'm just choosing not to do it anymore. I spent so much of my time pretending that I was fine when all I had to do was process that I wasn't. Allowing myself to process my not being fine is the way to fine. Processing failure is the way to success. Processing overwhelm is the way to calm. Processing frustration is the way to confidence. Negative emotion is the way. But there's no feeling school. No one ever really teaches us how to feel. I find that we have like two camps, two schools of thought when we talk about feelings, right? One, you just sweep it under the rug where all feelings should go, right? Or two, you hear, feel your feelings. Okay, how? That is why I created the B method, the process for feeling. If feeling fuels our action, our A line, right? And ultimately, every single result we want in our life, I think it is becoming of us to be master feelers. Okay. What if instead of thinking that our life has gone wrong in some way, we make peace with what if it is all happening exactly as it should? You guys, there's no downside to thinking that that is true. And it is. It is at least as true as the thought that our life should not be this way. I promise you it should. When we know how life really works and that our thoughts create our results and our thoughts are not facts, therefore optional and swappable, we can get super curious about what happens when we put these thoughts in the model. How do we show up when we have these thoughts? What do we do or not do? It is our superpower to choose our thoughts on purpose. We have a lot of thoughts that we think are true when actually they're not true. They're only not true. They don't serve us in any meaningful way. And when we put it in the model, we most often are not showing up as our best self. And these are sneaky little thoughts that our brain likes to offer us to prove that we are right. Thoughts like, if we all agree on something, it must be true. It sounds like such an innocent little thought. But just because a lot of people agree doesn't make it true. It just means that we have more evidence, more people believing it. As a family, most of us agreed that my oldest son, Logan, was quote unquote challenging. And so my brain looked for evidence that he was challenging to prove me right. And for the record, there's no such thing as challenging people. There's no such thing as difficult people, right? Remember, other people are the situation and they are neutral, right? My brain wanted to prove me right more than it wanted me to be connected. Your brain wants you to be right more than it wants you to accomplish your goals, lose the weight you want, get the promotion. It sheds massive light on the phrase, if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you can't. Remember, your results are always proof of your original thought. And so when I stopped looking for evidence that he was quote unquote challenging, and I started loving him exactly as he was, I fell in love all over again. This time, I noticed how strong-willed and confident he was, that he was not a yes man, that he was not a people pleaser, that he was going to push against most, if not all, boundaries. And that was okay. It was better than okay. The sad part about all of this is I didn't see any of this until I revealed the lie in this little thought. Another one that we think, right? That we can make other people happy or mad. Friends, this is not true. Remember, your thoughts create your feelings. No one else can make you feel any way unless you let them, nor can anyone else make you feel any way. The other one that I hear about is around likability. Your likability has nothing to do with you. Most people are like, I just want to be more likable. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the other person and what it is that they think about you. And it's their business, not yours. The only business that is yours, right, is you to like yourself. I don't know. I'm confused. It's not fun. I'm so busy. I don't have enough time. All of these thoughts, you guys, are just your brain wanting to make excuses. It wants to be confused by it so that it doesn't have to decide. Indecision is a decision to stay sane. And the brain loves sane. They should or shouldn't have done this or that. Whenever we have expectations around other people's agency, we suffer, period. I'm right. She's wrong. I love this parable to kind of bring this concept home. But there's an elephant and there's 3 blind men. And each blind man gets to experience the elephant. And the first blind man gets to experience the elephant by its tail. And the second blind man gets to experience the elephant by its trunk. And the third blind man gets to experience this elephant by its leg. And let's just say, hypothetically, they were all sitting here with me, talking to you on this show, sharing with you their experience of the elephant. Who's right? I'd offer they're all right. They're all right. They're all right because of their experience in it. This question is always available to you. Do you want to be right? Or do you want to be connected? I choose connected. When we come back from break, I'm going to break down our expectations, how it creates our pain, and why it is that we have manuals for people. Why it is that we think people should or should not do things that they do. We'll see you soon. Welcome back. I'm so sad that our time is almost done. I hope you've enjoyed it. And, if you want to know more about me, you can check me out on my website, www.leahroling.com, or on social at Leah Roling. As I mentioned before break, we create unnecessary pain with our expectations of our situations, of our colleagues, of our friends, of our in-laws, of our children, of our spouses. We have lots of ideas, not just a few ideas, right? We have full-blown stories about how people in our lives should be. We develop these stories in many cases, right, before we even enter into many of the relationships in our lives. I want you to think back to maybe before you had kids, right? Did you have a picture of what that was going to look like as a parent? Did you have an idea of how your kids would be? Any idea of how it would feel like to be in a relationship with them? I mean, I know I did. I pictured myself, loving and kind and sitting with my arms around them in church and them cuddling up to me, all kinds of little moments, little stories, little subplot stories that I created in my head about how it would be when I was a mother and when I had kids. Now, some of these things have come to pass and many of them have not, right? Some of the things that I have noticed in my relationships, in all of them, but let's just talk about the kids for a minute. Some of them have been a lot harder than I anticipated. Like, I didn't realize that trying to ask my 11-year-old child today when I dropped him off at school that he should wear a coat because it's negative 20 whatever with the windshield was going to create World War IV. I didn't know that going into it, right? But some of them have been sweeter and way more amazing than I imagined. But overall, I would say my picture of how I thought I would be with them is pretty off. And I think that's what I find so fascinating is we do this with so many people in our life. We think about what our parents should have been, who they should have been, right? And I think what's fascinating is that as kids, we don't really have that picture of what our parents should have been. We just have the parents that we have. We don't really know any different. We don't have anything to compare it to. But as we get older and we become more aware, then we start to create this story, right, of what our parents were supposed to be like. It's not just a story about what they should be like now, but what even they should have been like in the past, right? I coach people on this all of the time. Like, my mother should have been more supportive. She should have listened more. She should have been more available, right? Or my father should have been more accepting. Or my parents shouldn't fight with one another. All kinds of noise that we have about our parents and what they should be like. And a lot of the background noise about how they raised us wrong, we do this with so many people in our life. Mother-in-laws, sisters, friends, bosses. We do it with almost everybody in our life. So the problem with this part of our humanness is that other people in the world, other people in our lives aren't very good at being who we think they should be. Have you noticed this? First of all, they're not very good at reading our minds. Many times I find when I'm with my clients that they're not even making requests of people. They're just kind of sort of saying, of course they should know that. Of course my spouse should know that I need help. Of course my mother should know that I need help with the kids. Of course my kids should know that I don't want them to lie to me, right? So people don't read our minds. We need to get better at voicing our requests. And I'm all for you doing that. But the second piece and the most important piece of this is to remember that people are not at all good at complying with being who we think they should be. And when we want them to be different than they are, mainly so we can feel better, I call that having a manual for someone. Just like you have a manual for how your car is supposed to run, and if something isn't working, then it's broken and it needs fixed. But remember, you don't need fixed. And guess what? Neither does anyone else in your stories, right? But that's what we tend to think about people. Like, didn't you read on page 37 of my manual? It says that you're supposed to call me back when I call, that you're supposed to reply to my text messages, right? You're supposed to want to talk to me. You're supposed to behave in this way or not this way. Didn't you read the manual? And we punish ourselves with these manuals. So one, people are not any good at being who we want them to be, right? They're not good at reading our minds. And do you know what else they're not very good at being, my friends? They're not very good at being us. They're only good at being them. And I say this because a lot of times in my coaching, I'll say, well, why do you think your husband should, let's say, want to hear about your day? I coached a woman who says, he doesn't listen very well. He doesn't really ask me about my day. He's not engaged. He's on his phone, right? He doesn't want to hear about my day. And I say, lovingly, always, why do you think that he should want to hear about your day? And she'll say, well, I would do that for him. If he wanted to talk to me and tell me about something, I would be attentive. I'd put my phone down. You know what I say? Again, lovingly and with a wink. You know what your husband's not very good at? Being you. He's good at being him. And I know this is disappointing, you guys. I'm with you. I don't understand why everybody doesn't think like I do, why they don't act like I do, why they don't see the world as I do. Why do they behave the way they do? Except then I remember, oh yeah, that would be terrible if we just had a whole bunch of me's running around. It would be boring and weird and not a good thing at all, actually. We want everyone to be them. Sometimes I think the people, the difficult ones, the challenging ones that we say are our best teachers, right? We truly do. We want people to be them. We don't want people to be us. And when we want them to be us, we suffer. We punish ourselves with the expectations of how other people should be, you guys. This is the most important thing I want you to hear. The reason I want you to drop your expectation of other people and who they should be is not for those people. It's for you. You double whammy yourself when you expect that people should be different, right? Because they're going to keep being themselves no matter what. I want you to drop it for your sake, okay? I want you to be able to enjoy people in your life and to enjoy your own life experience and to stop turning yourself into a miserable, crazy person trying to control everyone around you. I hope that you will join me in 2 weeks. We are going to talk about starting strong and finishing the year stronger. I'm going to share with you 3 ideas that I personally believe, when mastered, make all the difference between accomplishing what it is that you want and, well, not. Friends, thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for making personal development an important part of your growth, an important part of your becoming. And as we become, as a journey, like not a finish line, the best of who we are, we will no doubt impact, inspire, and influence not only our life, but everyone in it and the world. Thanks for helping me on this mission, and we'll see you soon. You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Roling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every other Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahroling.com.